Hello students, welcome to another episode of All Force e-learning program. It's me again, teacher physics concepts. In today's session, let us talk about force on a charge due to multiple charges, many charges within its vicinity. So before going to the topic, let's have a preview of what we have learned in the earlier episodes. So I was telling you, charge is a fundamental property which exhibits and which experiences electrical magnetic effects. Charging, giving a charge to a body is electrification. There are three methods: charging by friction, charging by conduction, charging by induction. Right? Later, charge is the property which is responsible for a special force between the charged bodies called electric force, electrostatic force. And we have learned like charges repel and unlike charges attract. And the analytical approach to this electrostatic force was given by Mr. Charles Coulomb, right? So he has given a formula, he has given a law for stating this. So if there are two charges Q1, Q2 separated by a distance r, then force F proportional to Q1, Q2 by r square, and F is equal to K not Q1, Q2 by r square. And we have found a constant even, this is called Coulomb's constant. It's 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1, Q2 by r square, right? This is the force between two charges in air vacuum free space. This is the mathematical form of the force between two charges. The magnitude of the electric force acting on two charges, 1 by 4 epsilon Q1, Q2 by r square. But force is a vector, so we should even define its direction. So first, let us talk about the vector form of the force, Coulomb force on a charge. We shall understand the vector form of the Coulomb force. Vector form of Coulomb force. Now, consider two charges. Let's suppose this is a Cartesian two-dimensional plane, Cartesian 2D plane. In this plane, imagine two charges. Let there be two charges Q1 and Q2 at points A and B. Right? Point A has its position vector represented as R1 bar. Point B has its position vector represented as R2 bar. Right? So, vectorially we are taking the things. R1 bar. Charge Q1 is having a position vector R1 bar. Charge Q2 with R2 bar. Now, the displacement between the two charges AB bar. Displacement between two charges, the vector, it is AB bar. Let this be R bar. So therefore, AB bar is R bar, and it is the vector from the position of the first charge to the position of the second charge. You can even represent it as R bar, R21 bar. Right? So the vector representing from first charge to second charge, R21 bar. It is R bar. And similarly, suppose if I have to represent the vector from second charge to first charge. So this is R bar or R21 bar. It is our convention. And the vector representing from B to A, the other direction, opposite vector. A vector with same magnitude but opposite direction is negative vector. So this is R12 bar. It is to first charge from the second charge. So it is R12 bar, and this is opposite of R21 bar. Both are equal and opposite. Negative vectors, opposite vectors. Okay. Now, suppose if I consider these two charges as like charges, let us say plus plus. So, like charges repel. So, positive charge Q1 repels Q2. So, this is the force acting on Q2 due to the force Q1. So, it is represented as F21. And you see, this force is in the direction of R21, that is R bar. Now, the force due to second charge on the first charge, repulsive force, this is the force. So, this is represented as force on the first due to second. So it is represented as force AB means force on the charge at A due to the charge at B. Right? This is the order. So therefore, F21 force on the second charge due to first charge. F12 force on the first due to second. Now, R bar, that is R21 bar, displacement vector. Now this force is in the direction of R21 bar. And this force on the first charge R12, it is in the direction of R12 bar, and it is in the direction opposite to this. You know, I was telling you, Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law. Right? Coulomb's law, even Newton's law of gravitation obeys Newton's third law. Both are mutual forces. So Newton's third law, action reaction pair, mutual. Right? So therefore, force applied by first on second, force applied by second on first, both are equal and opposite. Right? Let us take it mathematically, vectorially. Now, so this is AB bar. First, let us find what is AB bar. In first year we have learned, in 11th class you have learned, according to triangle law of vectors, it was defined, right, according to triangle law. If two vectors are represented as two adjacent sides of a triangle, A bar and B bar. Two vectors are represented as two adjacent sides of a triangle, A bar and B bar, taken in order. The third side, closing side of the triangle, taken in the reverse order, represents the resultant vector. Now this was the triangular. So that is R bar is A bar plus B bar. So let us apply that in this. Now consider a triangle OAB. OA and AB are two vectors, two sides of a, represented as two sides of a triangle taken in order. You see, OA and from A to B, two sides of a triangle taken in order. Now OB bar is the third side of the triangle taken in reverse order. So applying this triangle in this one, R bar, the third side is A bar plus B bar. So from this, OA and AB are the two sides of a triangle taken in order, and OB bar is the third side in reverse. So OB bar is the resultant of OA and AB. So OB bar is equal to OA bar plus AB bar. So take this side. So AB bar is equal to OB bar minus OA bar. Now substituting its representation. Now AB bar is R bar. So it is R bar, rather R21 bar. It is OB. We have considered OB as R2 bar. So it is R2 bar minus R1 bar. So therefore R bar or R21 bar, it is R2 bar minus R1 bar. Now what is the magnitude of R bar? It is magnitude of R21 bar. It is mod of R2 bar minus R1 bar. Magnitude. And again, by the definition of unit vector, a vector whose magnitude is 1 unit with a definite direction, A bar. Suppose if this is a unit vector in the direction of A bar, then unit vector along A bar, A cap is A bar by mod A. So unit vector along any vector is the vector by its magnitude. Now I want the unit vector in the direction of R bar. So unit vector along R bar, it is R cap. It is represented as R cap. So R cap is R bar by mod R bar. That is R21 cap is equal to R21 bar by mod R21 bar. That is R21 bar is R2 bar minus R1 bar by mod of R2 bar minus R1 bar. Similarly, applying this, if I consider the other way, if OB and this BA, if I'm taking, I want to find this, applying the same, similarly like this, if I want R12 bar, well, R12 bar is equal and opposite to R21 bar. So this is R minus of R21 bar. So it is minus of R2 bar minus R1 bar. So it's R1 bar minus R2 bar. Similarly, you can find the magnitude and its unit vector. So this is the thing there. Now our main object is to find the vector form of the Coulomb force. Now according to Coulomb's law, the magnitude of the force F is equal to 1 by 4 by epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. Now the vector form, direction of the force. Now the direction of the force on second, Coulomb force on the second charge B, charge at B, force on Q2 due to Q1, that is F21 bar. Now this force is in the direction of R21 bar. So vector is magnitude of the force and the direction is given by the unit vector in that direction. So it is R21 cap. So therefore force F21 bar is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square times the unit vector along R21 bar. So it is R21 bar by mod of R21 bar. So this is magnitude, even this is also magnitude. It is R21 bar is nothing but R bar. So this is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 R21 bar by, it is R square, mod of R21 is nothing but mod R. Mod R is again just R. So R square into R. R square into R I can write as R cube. So this is the vector form of the force. Force on the second charge due to first charge, it is represented as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R cube times its R21 bar. R21 bar is nothing but R bar. So you can even write this as F21 bar is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R cube times R bar. In an expanded form, you can even write as force on the second due to the first charge, it is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2, it is R2. So force F21, force on second due to first, 1 by 4 epsilon Q1 Q2 by, it is R2 minus R1 bar times denominator, it's R2 minus R1 mod of R2 minus R1 whole cube. So therefore it is mod R cube. So it's mod of R2 minus R1 whole cube. This is the force acting on the second due to first. The force due to the second charge on the force on the second charge due to first charge is in the direction of R21 bar. So force on the second due to first is along the direction of R21 bar, or it is along the R bar, represented like this. Similarly, force on charge Q1 bar, right? Let us remove all these things. Similarly, force on Q1 due to Q2, second charge. Let me write the things again. Force on the first charge on the first charge Q1 due to Q2. So force on Q1 due to Q2, it is in this direction, that is F12 bar. So this is also similarly same magnitude, 1 by 4 by epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square times, now this force is along R12 bar. So therefore it is R12 bar cap. This is the magnitude and this is the direction. So if I expand this, F12 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square times R12 bar. R12 bar is minus of R21 bar. So it's minus of R21 cap. Right? So therefore F force on 1 due to second is minus of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square times its R21 cap. But R21 cap, we have just now written that it is nothing but at R cap, right? So therefore F12 is equal to minus 1 by 4 by epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square times R bar by mod R. Multiplying this to this, so this is R cube. So therefore force on the first due to second is opposite. Now this is nothing but the force we have just now derived, F12, it is F21 bar. So both the forces are equal and opposite. Newton's third law is obeyed. Both are mutual forces. equal and opposite forces, mutual force applied by the first on the second, force applied by the second on the first. So F21 is equal to minus of F12 bar. This is the vector form of the force acting on the charges. Now applying using this vector form, we can find the resultant force on the single charge due to many charge within its vicinity. It is force due to many charges in the vicinity of a charge. Okay, कितना बार 20 मिनट हो गया. Force on a charge due to multiple charges. So applying the vector form of the force on a charge, we can even find the magnitude and direction. Now with this direction, when many forces act on it, considering the direction, you can find the resultant force. Now let us consider a charge Q. Let there be some n charges in its vicinity like this, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 like this, dot 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 dot. There are n charges in its vicinity. Now the displacement vector of Q from Q to Q1 is R1 bar, from Q to Q2 is R2 bar, Q3 R3 bar, Qn Rn bar. So the displacement vectors are represented like this. So when I consider the various forces, force due to Q1 on Q is in the direction opposite to this. So this is F on Q due to Q1. Force due to first charge, let us say F1 bar. Force due to second charge on it, if I consider positive charges, all are positive charges, let's say, right? Force due to this positive charge on it, now this is repulsive, it is F2 bar. Force due to 3, opposite to R3 bar, so this is F3. Force due to N, it is Fn. So when N charges are existing in the vicinity of charge Q, then the resultant force, now this is explained by a principle called principle of superposition. Superposition principle or principle of superposition. Principle of superposition. Now what does this principle of superposition represent? Actually it is based on one of the basic property of Coulomb force. You know, Coulomb forces, they exhibit a property that if there are two charges Q1 and Q2, let the force between them be F. If I place a third charge in between them or in the vicinity of these two charges, then there would be no change in the force between the first two charges. The force between these two remains as it is the same, whatever it was existing earlier. So the force between any two charges is not affected by the presence of the third charge. Even if there is any charge in the vicinity, right, in between them also, then there is no force, no change in the force, no variation in the force between the first two charges what we have considered. Like in an atom, suppose if you consider, right, there are many electrons around the nucleus revolving around. If I consider an electron, force on the electron due to nucleus is unaffected by the surrounding electrons that are existing. The presence of the third charge will not affect the force between the first two charges. Whether it is there or not, the force between first two remains the same. So first, if I consider Q and Q1, when all the things are not existing, the force due, because the force due to Q1 on Q, that is Fn, even due to the presence of this thing, Fn remains as it is. Similarly, due to F2, due to F3, due to the third charge, dot dot Qn, then the resultant force due to all these charges, when you consider all the charges simultaneously, right, when you consider all the forces simultaneously, the resultant force on a charge due to many charges in the vicinity, considering all of them simultaneously, is the vector sum of all the forces considering at a time. Like for example, so the resultant force on this charge, resultant force on this, it is the vector sum of Fn bar plus F2 bar plus F3 bar dot 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 Fn bar. The resultant force on a charge due to multiple charges around it is equal to the vector sum of all the forces considering simultaneously at a time. Right? It is a vector sum. So the resultant force is equal to sigma Fi bar from I1 to In how many, whichever number of forces you take, so those many forces, add them vectorially. Principle of superposition, vector sum, even Newton's gravitational force, even that also obeys the principle of superposition. So you can apply the same for this, principle of superposition and Coulomb's law combined together explains complete electrostatics, all the concepts of electrostatics, all the effects, field, force, field, etc., potential energy, all that. So Coulomb's law and the combined with principle of superposition together will simply explain all electrostatics. So according to the principle of superposition, let us understand the resultant force on any particle, charged particle, due to the multiple charges around it is equal to the vector sum of all the forces considering them simultaneously. So therefore F bar is sigma I to n, I1 to In, it is Fi. So F1 bar plus F2 bar, F3 bar dot Fn bar. Now considering, so F1, we know F1 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 into Q by the displacement between these two is R1 square, magnitude, and the direction of this is given along. So if this is R1 bar, the direction is opposite. I have considered them as like charges. So positive, this is the direction. So F1 bar 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q1. Let's suppose this is along R, it is R1 bar, opposite R1 bar. So it's minus R1 bar. So 1 by 4 epsilon Q1 Q by R1 square. Similarly F2 bar, it's 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q2 into Q by R2 square. Magnitude of this vector. R2 bar we have considered like this. But force on Q due to this will be in this direction. Opposite of, so it's minus R2 bar. R2 cap, R1 cap. And this is R2 cap. So on and so forth. Force due to nth charge. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Qn Q by Rn square times minus Rn cap. So putting all the forces on this one, right, you can find the resultant force. It is the vector sum of all the forces acting on the charge considering all of them simultaneously. This is the resultant force. So the force acting on a single charge due to multiple charges, many charges around, it is the vector sum. Just applying all these things, putting them, you can calculate the resultant force acting with its magnitude and its direction, right?